Hey, it's Sam, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of You Earned It, Now Collect It Letters Edition. This is episode five or six, um, where we essentially answer letters and/or electronic letters that we've received over the years, and answer them here on video and on YouTube. Um, People know that these letters or electronic letters, you'll hear people refer to these sometimes as emails, but the technical term is electronic letters. We've received these over from the period of late 90s when the show was on up until as recent as 2 days ago. So thank you for everyone that submitted these letters. For the folks that submitted them back in the 90s or 2000s and we just never got around to reading them to now, we apologize. But oftentimes when the show was on, we got so many letters we just couldn't get through them. And fortunately, Joel has saved them, and we're slowly going through and answering these. So hopefully, people that wrote back then are still watching now, and if not, maybe their friends watching and they can say, "Oh, Sam and Joel got your letter, and they finally got around to reading it." So that's kind of what the idea is to help people out, answer questions. Uh, you can still send us electronic letters at you earned it 1998 at gmail.com. That's gmail.com. Because a lot of people hear mail, they think it could be like mail, like MALE, but this is MAIL, like what you get in the mail. So gmail.com. You earned it 1998. And we'll try to answer as many letters we can get to. We usually answer about five, six a show, and hopefully you appreciate it and continue to watch. So we'll get started. Um, Joel has printed out all the letters. I've made some notes here, but Joel's printed all the letters, and I'm just going to read through them. This is, I just read these a few minutes before, so the answers sometimes are off the top of my head, but hopefully it at least gets people thinking. Um, one thing I should say since we've added since episode 4 is I've tracked down a World Almanac 2010. So I'm not sure I'm going to use it this episode, but in future episodes I can certainly reference this if needed. If people have questions, just say, "Hey, Sam, I have a question that I want you to look up and reference this book," and I'll look it right up. Um, this is 2010, but things don't change that frequently. We know that, and I got a great deal on this because this is kind of like a Easter candy situation where the day after, January 1st, 2011, this thing drops in value, and it just continues to drop. So, I got this probably about a week and a half ago, and this thing was down. Let's see what the price was. Originally, it was $12.99 in the U.S., $16.99 in Canada, and I got it for 99 cents. So it's dropped $12. Um, it's probably still $4.99 in Canada because it looks like it's $4 more. But even if you're in Canada, this is $4.99, and in the U.S., 99 cents. So a great deal. Uh, I could read a bunch of stuff on how great this is, but I'm not gonna get into it. It says my number one reference work for facts. This is from Will Shortz, New York Times crossword editor. So a lot of people say the New York Times is a really hard crossword puzzle. He kind of lets you in a secret. If you have this, it's probably not going to be that hard. But again, uh, if there's questions I can answer tonight, I'll use it. Otherwise, please reach out with questions, and I'll get you what I can know from there. Um, it has the president on here. It has uh, some singer. It has a baseball player, so it covers everything. So a polar bear, a bunch of stuff. Okay, so we'll get to the letters. Um, Sorry for the long intro, but again, we have new viewers each week, so I want to catch everyone up. So you earned it now collected letters episode, I believe it's 6. This letter is dated October 17, 2000. It says, "Dear Sam, how do you think unemployment will change if Al Gore becomes president? Sincerely, Logan Blake." Um, I never like dealing hypotheticals, but unemployment is trending down right now, I believe, since Obama has become the president. So I think if Gore becomes president, it will still keep going down. That's just a prediction. But so, and again, it says, "How do I think?" So I can't really have a wrong answer. I think it will keep going down. So thanks for the question, Logan. Again, apologize for the delay in getting back to you, but hey, better late than never is an old saying. This next one comes from an Arian or Arian, Arian, dated June 30th, 2007. So little more recent here. And I'm not sure the order of these. Joel, again, puts these together and prints them. So it says, Dear Sam, can you explain what unemployment means to you from a personal perspective? Personal was underlined, so this must be a handwritten letter. Without societal constructs. Um, I know what societal constructs are, obviously, and Arian does because he or she put it in the letter. So I'm not going to explain it to our readers. But if you have a question, you can look it up on the internet. So, from a personal perspective, without societal constructs, as you can possibly guess, I am trained in the arts, both formally and informally, and asking these types of questions interests me the most. So essentially, can I explain what unemployment means from a personal perspective without societal constructs? Um, well, people that have watched the show and watched the letters even know that I typically am pretty much facts driven. You know, I have my unemployment book that I reference, so I don't like to get into the personal side of things. So unemployment means to me, it just means you know you do work, and then if you can't do work, they pay you money. So that's not hopefully that's explains it. I mean, again, I'm not going to get too personal, but that's what it means to me. So thank you for the letter, Arian. I should say he signed it, or she signed it, peace and blessings. I don't know if I said that before, but very unique signature. So next one comes from September 18th, 1998, from Charles P. It's a little longer one. Dear Sam, as many people know, unemployment benefits were drastically expanded by President Kennedy prior to his assassination. I would imagine that Richard Nixon, as a Republican, was opposed to that. Any idea how President and Vice President, with drastically different viewpoints, reached a compromise? Do you think Kennedy had meaningful discussions with Nixon even though Kennedy had final decision making? Thank you, Charles P. So this is a political type question, which I'm happy to answer. I already answered one about Al Gore, so it seems to be a theme here. Um, so he's talking about Nixon and Kennedy getting along as vice president and president, even though they were from different parties. So typically, and I don't know I believe they got along, or probably got along, was they probably made a list of pros and cons together. This is what I like, and you know, Kennedy might have said, I like this because I'm a Democrat, and Nixon said, I like this or don't like this because I'm a Republican. And they made a list of pros and cons, and at the end of the day, they tallied them up, and if there was more pros and cons, they did what, you know, maybe Kennedy wanted to do. If there was more cons, they did Nixon, and if it was tied, they probably, well, probably they did what Kennedy wanted because he was the president, so that probably like the deciding vote. Um, I bet that it talks about Kennedy and Nixon, their relationship in this almanac, just because I said on the cover there's a picture of President Obama, so I think they cover a lot of things about presidents in here. But I won't dig through this, but I bet it is in here. So Charles P. I think that they probably did pros and cons list, but if you can get a hands on a World Almanac and look for the president section, it might tell you one way or the other. So, but thank you for the letter. Next one comes from Craig Breintrappen. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. It says, it's from March 16, 2004. Um, Sam, this is Craig Breintrappen. So it's nice he says his name right at the beginning, so I don't have to look, I don't have to flip or look and see who signed it. So, Craig Breintrappen. You may remember me because I sent you a question via electronic mail on March 17th, 2001. Nearly 3 years have passed and you still have not answered it. So this is kind of ironic because he sent this email in 2001, he claims, and then he sent this follow-up in 2004, and I'm not getting around to 2014. But again, it's volume issues here. So first question, did you get my email? I'm assuming we did because Joel answers that, but there could have been something wrong with the server or something like that. So nothing for sure. I don't recall the first one, so I can't say for sure, but we probably did. Second question, if you did, when do you plan to answer it? Well, it's probably going to be answered, but it's probably, in the queue somewhere, and we'll get to it, Craig. Before you answer, so now he says, before you answer these questions, please note that I sent the email of high importance and with a read receipt and a delete receipt. I don't know about delete receipts and read receipts, but I would like to point out, Craig, if you're going to say something before you answer those questions, that should be lead into the questions. So, for example, you should have said, "Don't answer these questions, but here are my first and second questions." But to say that after the fact, it doesn't. I'm ready to answer the question, so it's too late. So sorry about that, but that's letter writing 101. Anyway, it says my records indicate that you did in fact open the email and that you deleted it on March 18th, 2001. Very technical here. I give you that information because I have a feeling you would lie and say that you didn't receive my email when I know you did. Do you even remember what my question was? By deleting it, you basically sent yourself straight up S blank Creek. I hope you have learned your lesson. Courteously, Craig Breintrappen. See, the thing is, Craig, I bet we still have your email because I said these got backlogged and they're all mixed up here. So it's kind of funny we read your follow-up before we read your original, but I bet your original's out here somewhere. And because of the way you treated me and the way you treated Joel, when I get to it, I will not read it. So kind of a lesson learned. And don't think that by signing the letter courteously that it makes up for saying S Creek. So sorry, Craig. I will see your next question. I'll probably have a great answer for it, but it will not be read. Next one comes from Chaz, which we actually received this, looks like yesterday. So that's like I said, we're continuing to get these letters. So if people have questions, keep sending them in. You earned it 1998 at gmail.com. I hope that's right. Says Sam, my friend works at an Etsy store. I say he is technically unemployed and should try to collect. He says it's a real job. Who's right? Sincerely, Chaz. So his friend works at an Etsy store and says that's a job. Chaz thinks it's not a job. So that's a tough one. You know, the book that we have is from 1975, so the concept of Etsy and these stores, online stores, didn't even exist. But I would say, you know, from an unemployment perspective, if it's just an online thing and you don't have a boss and you don't have a store with a window and an awning. I'm getting very specific, but you know what I mean, a real store, brick and mortar store, I'd say it's not a job, and then you probably can collect unemployment. So um, hopefully that helps, Chaz. Hopefully that helps clear up your friend arguing with your friend, and hopefully he or she will learn a lesson. So all right, well we're 12 minutes in. I don't want to overdo this. I got a bunch more letters, but again, we do these episodes all the time, so I'm not worried about that. But I'll do one. See if I can do one more. That one's kind of long. Well, I'll read this one, I guess. This is from February 19, 2012. It says, Dear Sam, I work in one of the largest, most popular restaurants. I work in one of the restaurants, the largest, most popular, most recognized fast food chains in the world. I have recently converted to vegetarianism, which according to my bosses has affected my ability to do my job. To give you some background, since my conversion, I have informed my bosses that I'm no longer willing to take orders for, prepare, or serve the meat items on the menu, like the double stack, chili, neither large or small, and chili cheese fries. I would be willing to take orders for, prepare, and or serve French fries, broccoli and cheese potatoes, sour cream and chive potatoes, Frosties, apple slices, and all soda varieties. I am also no longer willing to clean the restrooms. My bosses have intimidated? I'm not sure what they mean. My bosses intimidated that they intend to terminate. So basically, Shauna is saying they're going to fire. Please advise as to A, my boss's authority to effectuate the foregoing threat. These words that she uses are unbelievable. Intimidated, effectuated, and any claims for a remedy that I may have given their infringement of my new lifestyle choices. With all my best, Shayna, Shyna. So she's a vegetarian, and they're gonna fire her. Anything she can do. This all makes sense to me, Shayna. I don't think they can fire you. I guess the one thing I'd have would be about the restrooms. You said you can't clean the restrooms. I don't know if there's because there's meat in there or not. That might be the one area they could say, well, you can still clean the restrooms even if you're a vegetarian. But if you can prove that there's meat on the floor or, you know, meat on the mirrors, or anything that would have meat in the bathroom, that might be a valid point. So that'd be the only thing I'd be worried about. But otherwise, I think you have a pretty good case. Um, and you may be a lawyer already because the words uh, like I said, foregoing and effectuate. So if you're a lawyer, I would try to sue them. Um, I think you'll have a great chance. Just watch the bathroom thing. So uh, that's going to wrap it up this episode. Thanks again for tuning in to You Earned It Now Collected on the Sam and Joel YouTube channel. We'll do this again soon. Keep sending in the letters and electronic letters. We'll keep answering. And again, if you have an almanac in your house, look at that and um, try to think of questions, or just look at this and learn things, because you might be thinking, oh, I should write Sam a letter, but if you have an almanac, you don't need to write me a letter. Just look in there yourself and kind of save a step. So okay, thanks for watching, and talk to you soon. Bye.